The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. Confucius. You left everything. Your language, your street, the smell of your mother's kitchen, the sound of your name spoken correctly. You crossed borders, some made of wire, some made of paperwork, some made of your own fear. And you arrived somewhere new with almost nothing in your hands. And someone dared to call that a disadvantage. Today, I'm here to tell you the opposite truth. Being an immigrant is not your burden, it is your superpower. And by the end of this video, you will never see your story the same way again. Let's go back to the beginning. Not to make you feel the pain again, but to make you feel its weight. Because only when you understand how heavy the beginning was, will you truly understand how strong you have become. Picture it. A small apartment, maybe one room for 4 people, a mattress on the floor, a suitcase that holds everything you own. You open the window, and the city outside speaks a language you don't yet understand. The signs, the voices, the rhythm of the buses, the way people walk without looking at you. You are invisible. You are starting from zero. And here is what zero feels like. It feels like shame. It feels like the gap between who you were back home, respected, known, understood, and who you are here, a foreigner, a stranger, a beginner again at age 30, or 40, or 50. You go to buy groceries and you point at things because you don't know the words. You laugh softly to cover your confusion. You smile at strangers because a smile needs no translation. But at night, alone, the smile disappears, and you ask yourself the question that every immigrant has asked in the dark. Did I make a mistake? This moment, this exact moment of doubt is where most people think the immigrant story becomes a tragedy. But they are wrong. This is where it becomes legendary. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. Japanese proverb. You started learning, not in a classroom, in the streets, in the workplace, in the supermarket, in embarrassing moments that taught you more than any textbook ever could. You worked jobs that others refused, night shifts, double shifts, jobs that required your hands and your back, not your degrees. Jobs where they mispronounced your name so many times you almost started answering to the wrong one. But you showed up every single day. You watched, you listened, you absorbed. While the people around you took their language for granted, you were studying it like a sacred text. You were learning not just words, but culture, humor, body language, the unwritten rules of this new world. You were doing double the work just to reach the starting line. And here is something the history books know, but rarely say out loud. The greatest contributors to almost every great civilization were people who arrived from somewhere else. Albert Einstein fled Germany as a refugee. He arrived in America with little money, imperfect English, and unlimited genius. Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google, came to the United States as a child immigrant from the Soviet Union. Elon Musk left South Africa. The man who helped build the atomic age, Enrico Fermi, was an immigrant. The woman who discovered polonium and radium, Marie Curie, left her country by night to study in a city that didn't want her there. These are not exceptions, these are the rule. Because the immigrant mind is trained in something most people never develop, the ability to function in discomfort. You know what it is to be lost. You know what it is to rebuild. You know what it is to smile through exhaustion. You know what it is to hold 2 worlds inside your chest, the one you left and the one you are building, and carry both of them forward without dropping either. That is not weakness. That is extraordinary human capacity. Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls.
The most massive characters are seared with scars. Khalil Gibran. Let me speak to you directly now. Every hard day you survived, every moment of humiliation, every form you didn't understand, every time someone talked slowly at you as if you were a child, every night you cried into a pillow in a city that didn't know your name, every single one of those moments was shaping you. The philosopher Nietzsche wrote, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." But I want to say something even more specific than that. Difficulty does not just make you stronger, it makes you wiser. It makes you humble. It makes you grateful. It makes you creative. When you have nothing, you learn to see value in everything. When you cannot rely on comfort, you rely on yourself. When the system does not work for you automatically, you learn to navigate. And navigation is perhaps the most powerful skill a human being can develop. The local person who grew up with everything handed to them may be talented, but the immigrant who built everything from scratch is resourceful. And in the long race of life, resourcefulness beats talent almost every time. There's a concept in Japanese philosophy called shokunin, the spirit of a craftsman who dedicates their entire life to mastering one thing, pouring every ounce of themselves into their work with love and devotion. The immigrant, by necessity, becomes a shokunin of survival and then of success. One day, and you will remember this day for the rest of your life, something shifted. Maybe it was the first time you made a joke in the new language and people laughed, not out of politeness, out of genuine delight. Maybe it was the day you signed a lease on your first real apartment, the day your child came home from school speaking fluently in 2 languages, carrying both of your worlds inside them as a gift to the future. Maybe it was the day you opened your own business, the day your name was on a door, the day someone came to you for advice. Maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe it was just a Tuesday morning when you woke up and realized, I am not afraid anymore. That day, that is the day the immigrant dream stops being a dream and starts being a life. And here is what makes it different from the dreams of people who never had to struggle. You know exactly how much it cost. You know the price of every comfort, the hours behind every dollar, the courage behind every step forward. And that knowledge, that deep, bone-level knowledge, only makes you a powerful human being.
Fills everything you have built with a meaning that cannot be bought, borrowed, or given. You earned it. You built it. It is yours. Wherever you go, go with all your heart. Confucius. Now you stand somewhere new. Not perfect, not without challenges. Life is never without challenges. But you stand on ground that you cleared with your own hands. You look back at the person you were, standing in that small apartment, pointing at groceries, afraid of the phone ringing because you might not understand the words, and you feel something unexpected. Not just pride, gratitude. Gratitude for the difficulty, because the difficulty made you who you are. Gratitude for the loneliness, because the loneliness taught you the true value of connection. Gratitude for the beginning, for that bare, humble, terrifying beginning, because it gave you a story worth telling. And now, here is your greatest responsibility and your greatest gift. Tell it. Tell it to the immigrant who just arrived and is sitting in the same darkness you once sat in. Tell it to your children so they understand the love that was poured into the foundation of their comfortable lives. Tell it to the world because the world needs to hear, desperately, urgently needs to hear, that starting from nothing is not a sentence, it is an invitation. An invitation to build something that only you could have built.
because no one else has your specific combination of loss and love, of the old world and the new world, of the language in your bones and the dream in your chest. The philosopher Rumi wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Your immigration, your displacement, your sacrifice, your reinvention was the wound, and through it light entered, and through you that light now touches every life you reach. You are not a refugee from your story. You are the hero of it. You did not lose your home. You expanded it, across borders, across languages, across generations. You did not start from nothing. You started from everything that mattered: courage, love, hunger, hope. And the world that once made you feel small, you made it larger by arriving in it. So the next time someone asks where you are from, stand tall, speak clearly, say the name of your homeland with the same pride with which you speak the name of the place you built, because you carry both, and both made you extraordinary. You are an immigrant, and that is your greatest luck.